Hello everybody, my name is Ralf Bader. I'm the Chief Project Certification Manager for Initial Airworthiness at the agency, and I'm presenting today the experience we made regarding the systematic risk-based EASA level of involvement. So what did we do to prepare before Part 21 LOI implementation? So several working groups were established for the AMC GM drafting, so the acceptable means of compliance and guidance material. We had a group for the advanced applications, which are actually the volunteering DOA holders. We had the industry representatives as ASD, and we had a steering committee, which means the agency plus industry. And the outcome of all these groups led to the iteration loops and a mature risk-based approach at the time of implementation. Additionally, before the Part 21 LOI amendment, the Regulation 2018-897 went into force, all PCMs and experts in the agency, as well as in the national aviation authorities, were trained. We had road shows all over Europe to train the industry. We had overall very positive feedback about the early involvement of all stakeholders in a Part 21 change, the provision of training before a Part 21 actually become active, and the provided training itself. Regarding the field experience, there are different ways of implementation, and these were identified, and the vast majority was quite acceptable, or was acceptable. And depending on the DOA holders' needs, meaningful groupings of design change and compliance demonstration, what we call CDIs, are provided. And we have two different approaches. The bottom-up approach, which means from a document perspective, and this means one CDI in the majority of cases per document. Or from the other way, a top-down approach, as we call it. This means less CDIs and is from a change perspective. The overall field experience and what could be improved are mainly three items. The CDI reference should be linked to the compliance table of the certification program. That means for each certification specification, special condition, ESF, means of compliance, and the compliance data behind should be each time in one line to ensure that each CDI is really covered, that each content is covered by a CDI. So otherwise, this is not ensured in depth, and this is what we have seen in practice. The second one is that often complexity is not correctly interpreted. It is dependent on the design, the specification, the means to demonstrate compliance, the possibilities of interpretation, and similar things. Complexity is independent of experience or novelty or how often something was already practiced. And the third item, the LOI proposed does not stop with the risk class, but if compliance data is proposed as retained or not retained to the agency. So some process adaptations on DOA holder sides based on our DOA team's feedback at the time of industry implementation were seen. Some delays we had due to the COVID-19 crisis, but the overall experience was very, very good. So the introduction is considered as a very smooth based on the preparation that was invested by our stakeholders and a good compromise between meaningfulness and complexity of the process. Efficiency gain in the process was achieved by investing more time at the beginning of a project, which is much less time than we would invest at the end of a project when there's more friction and everything is more urgent. So this is a huge benefit. So the overall feedback, it's a very good example how industry and agency can work together, taking into account all stakeholders' aspects and keeping all stakeholders informed to ensure a smooth implementation. So thanks again to all who contributed to this successful implementation. And now I will give to my colleague, Rob Boersma, for the second part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralf. I'm Rob Boersma, and I'm Senior DOA Team Leader at EASA. And today I will be talking to you about the experience EASA gained with the new privileges for major repair, major change, and STC. Before going there, however, I'd like to share with you the reason for having the privileges as a reminder. New privileges were made possible in the recent Part 21 amendment for certain major repairs, certain major changes, and certain STCs. You'll see the references to Part 21 on the slide. Certain here is defined through AMC and guidance material. Projects for which the involvement of EASA we deem is not necessary. Known repetitive projects previously applied for, where you have demonstrated good DOA performance, and where for each CDI you have determined, and the agency agreed, that there is a low or very low LOI risk assessment. In these cases, we don't feel that there is an added safety benefit for EASA to review such projects, and the privileges become possible. Lessons learned. Already some DOA holders have new privileges. They relate to both TC holders and STC holders. Furthermore, we have several applications ongoing at the moment, and we know from these applications that the AMC and guidance material that we published provide very good guidance for these projects. Not always are the privileges correctly understood. In cases where organizations think it's like a blank check, where they can do any kind of major change, any kind of major repair, or any kind of STC on the privilege, this is not true. They're very strictly controlled, and under very specific conditions, these privileges can apply. We also discovered that you really need to have a recent LOI project done to show that the project A is applicable under the new privileges, and B, that your DOA is capable and demonstrates good performance with these projects. These elements need to be clearly demonstrated. Repetitiveness of the certification process. In principle, the certification process always needs to be a repeat of the reference project. Each CDI in the reference project and in the continuous application under the privilege needs to have a very low or low LOI risk assessment. And of course, good DOA performance. And this DOA performance is measured per panel. Certain limitations apply, and these are detailed as well in the AMC material. To take all of this into account, you as a DOA holder should provide us with a good, clear justification document. In this document, you tell us what is the project about. How do you fulfill the requirements that are detailed in the AMC material? What is the checklist that you use when in subsequent projects you make sure that this project falls under the privilege? Having a good justification document is key to having a good application with us and the successful addition of a new privilege to your terms of approval. Some further tips. Start discussing internally in your organization whether there is a true business case for having new privileges inside your DOA. Discuss with your DOA team leader. Apply for a project, noting that this project will be used later on as a reference case for certain major privileges. Build the procedures using the AMC guidance materials as basis. Your DOA team leader will check each and every detail within this AMC and guidance material for compliance against your procedures that you develop. Create justification document addressing all those points in the AMC and guidance material. Communication is key to a successful application. Make sure your intentions are known to the DOA team leader, to the certification teams that are handling your projects as reference projects. Then we have shown that you can have a successful application for the extension of the terms of approval. Thank you very much.